and things. Came to you to bring you a good story. This story coming to you from WXYZ TV Detroit, Channel 7. This is a good one. It's a twist and changes here. I'm a new racist. Judge removed after court official shares audio recordings. This is a new one. So the court officials shared some sort of audio recordings that they overheard this judge saying about being racist. Is that really true? This video is 6 minutes and 3 seconds long. We got 32,000 likes. We got 1.7 million views in just in a matter of days. And we have over 12,000 comments. This has to be a good one. Let's listen in.
A judge who makes life-altering decisions for families and those with disabilities, now accused of making racist comments and using shocking, derogatory language. Thank you for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Mike Duffy. 7 investigator Heather Catallo joins us now with more about why an Oakland County probate judge has been removed from her docket. Heather?
Mike, a high-ranking probate court official says he's been recording Judge Kathleen Ryan's statements for years. Even though probate court administrator Edward Hutton says he's been harassed by Judge Ryan, he says he does not want this to be about him. Hutton says he's coming forward now because he wants to protect the people who have to face Judge Ryan in the courtroom.
The Honorable Kathleen A. Ryan presiding. Good morning. You may be seated.
After more than 13 years on the bench, Oakland County Chief Probate Pro Tem Judge Kathleen Ryan is out of her courtroom. Chief Probate Judge Linda Hallmark removed Judge Ryan from her docket last week, announcing that a complaint about internal allegations of unprofessional conduct was sent to the Judicial Tenure Commission. Judge Ryan was arrested in 2021 for domestic violence, but those charges were later dismissed. And now she's back in the headlines.
Well, if you're black from any other country, you're doing way better. If you're an American black person, then you're a lazy piece of
The 7 investigators have obtained the recordings that county officials say prompted Judge Ryan's removal.
Oh, he's just I have no use for him.
She's made it a living hell in the past 6 years. I mean, it's been terrible. It's cost me relationships. I think it's affected my health. Can't sleep.
Attorney Edward Hutton is the Oakland County Probate Court Administrator. He's in charge of running everything that's not under the judge's purview inside one of the state's largest probate courts. Hutton alleges Judge Ryan has been calling him both during work and after hours for years. And Hutton says during those hours and hours of calls, Judge Ryan said highly inappropriate things. Why did you start recording the calls?
I just felt like it wasn't going to change. Nothing's manipulated in it. It's conversations that I was a part of, and I'm absolutely willing to testify to the authenticity of every single one of them.
I can honestly say that, okay, I'm not systemically racist, I'm a new racist. I never was, but now I am because you're shoving the down my throat and making allegations that you don't know about. You're telling me who I am and you've never met me. You. You.
Hutton says the judge also used homophobic slurs about other elected officials.
You know.
And that's not all.
A lot of times they were conversations about sexual encounters that she's having with various individuals. I mean, in intimate detail.
Hutton says for years he felt like he had to play along, and he says for years he was afraid to speak up.
I didn't want to lose my job, and I didn't want to be in her crosshairs. It's such a David and Goliath situation. I don't have the power. I'm not elected. I could get fired tomorrow.
On May 24th, Hutton says he sent Chief Judge Linda Hallmark a notice of sexual harassment.
For 3 months, nothing happened.
That's why on August 22nd, Hutton says he decided to send the recordings to the Chief Justice of the State Supreme Court, Oakland County Executive David Coulter, and other public officials. And he also contacted me.
I just want to make it right. I haven't filed a lawsuit. I'm not looking for a payday. I want to keep my job and do it in peace. And I want the people in Oakland County that come to court to get a fair shake, to have their day in court, to have an unbiased trier of fact.
In that email, Hutton said Judge Ryan, quote, has vocalized her hate and contempt for various protected groups. Once the recordings were shared with those state and county officials, Judge Ryan was removed from her docket. In a statement, County Executive Coulter said, quote, "There is absolutely no place for harassment of any kind or for racist or homophobic language by anyone at Oakland County, especially by someone the public must be confident will act fairly and impartially. The alleged conduct and abhorrent comments made by Judge Ryan merited her removal from the probate court docket pending further investigation."
Is Judge Ryan fit to be on the bench?
Absolutely not. Nobody with that much hate in their heart for certain people or certain groups of people, I don't believe that they could possibly make fair, unbiased decisions regarding them.
I did reach out to Judge Kathleen Ryan to talk to her about this. Her attorneys sent me this statement that says, quote, "We respect the authority of the Michigan Supreme Court. However, we look forward to vindicating Judge Ryan in the appropriate forum." I also spoke to probate judge Daniel O'Brien. He says Judge Ryan's friends are supporting her and believe these statements are totally out of character for her.
All right, certainly a lot here, but what's next with the Judicial Tenure Commission?
Well, they cannot confirm or deny whether they are pursuing an investigation. There has been some reporting that suggested that the complaint against the judge involved an inappropriate personal relationship. Hutton says that is not true. He says there was no physical contact. This was strictly a sexual harassment complaint about her alleged comments that started all of this. But again, he says the bigger issue here is what the judge says about people in protected classes, and he's hoping that that is what the JTC will focus on. So everybody's just sort of waiting to see what they will do.
And it sounds like who makes life-altering decisions for families and those with disabilities, now accused of making racist comments and using shocking, derogatory language. Joining us for 7 News Detroit at 6, I'm Mike Duffy. 7 investigator Heather Catallo joins us now with more about why an Oakland County probate judge has been removed from her docket. Heather?
Mike, a high-ranking probate court official says he's been recording Judge Kathleen Ryan's statements for years.
I would like to first start with the tattletale. Hey, tattletale. You thought you was going to get missed in this? No, you're first. You've been recording audio of a racist judge that you know holds people's life in the palm of her racist hands. So you've been recording her over the years. And when I think about over the years, I think of 365 days of the year in the year. And then I think about those days that's supposed to be minus holidays. I think about those days that are supposed to be minus weekends. I think about those days that will be minus sick days. And I also think about those days that will be minus those vacation days. But the problem that I'm having with minusing any day is because you're having conversations with her during hours and also after hours. So I don't know which days I need to add in as the amount of calls that you should have recorded, or the amount of information that you've taken in, or the things that you actually spewed out yourself. But now the early bird caught the worm, so you're snitching first. I don't know how to feel about you, tattletale. I don't know if I should thank you for being a tattletailer. We should appreciate you now. Or should we not be so quick to roll the red carpet out for you? Because that means to me that you sat back and you literally have watched and heard this lady talk down to a lot of people that entered and exited her courtroom. You have watched this lady probably render decisions against matters that you knew good and well should have went in the other direction, but because of a person's skin color, because of the person's ethnic background, because of probably the texture of a person's hair, or because of the color of our skin, or even because of where we're from. You're just now saying something? What a sassy cat. That's just like a sassy cat to go and run and start tattletelling when at the end of the day, when things didn't go right. If something happened that made you all of a sudden bring this to the forefront. When you were recording those calls from the beginning, you were looking for this type of pay date. Oh, I'm not looking, I didn't file a lawsuit yet, but how much are they going to start paying you for your audio? How much are they going to start paying you for you to sit and talk about it verbally? How much are they going to pay you then? What check did they slide up under the door for you? Don't worry, Judge. You're next. I don't know what you were expecting here, because I know a lot of people, oh good, he told it. He told on her. She's finally being held accountable for things that she say. It's been racial things going on with this woman. It's been different type of this and it's that and the other and the other and the other. But the problem that I'm having here is, all my queen, kings and things, let's not forget, he's been recording this judge who's been discriminating against certain groups for years. This isn't something that went on for a month and now you're scared to lose your job, dumbass. This is something that's been going on for years. Your seed is already planted and a plant has already grown with you being a part of that judicial system. You already knew you had people there that you could talk to. You already knew that there were other ropes that you can actually climb to get to where you need to go to get this lady off the bench. But what you did was you sat there and you were a part of this bad behavior. And now you want us to applaud you for bringing the second racist down because you're a racist as well.
Probate court administrator Edward Hutton says he's been harassed by Judge Ryan. He says
he's been harassed by the judge, but you've been recording her for years. How far would her harassment go had you been showed the evidence and the proof? You've been holding on to calls. You've been also speaking in the same manner that she was speaking in. So I'm really not understanding. Why did you come forward? Something happened to make you come forward. She wasn't harassing you. She found a dumbbell that entertained her conversation. She found a dumbbell that was a part of the conversation. She found a dumbbell that felt the same way she felt. Something happened to make you start snitching and tattletelling.
not want this to be about him.
It is about you, dumbfoot. Who else would it be about? It has to be about you. It's about you in my eyes because you had ample enough time to save people's lives. You had people walking out of courtrooms, probably disgusted with themselves for losing cases that they know for a fact they should have won. This is definitely sentimental to me because I had a judge that put me on house arrest, and by God knows, I cannot tell you to this date why I'm on house arrest. My day coming. I'm enduring this pain. It's not a lie. I'm sitting here during pain. I'm allowed to roam around the flight. I'm not stuck in the house. I can go anywhere I want to go. They just got an ankle monitor around my neck, around my ankle, instead of having it around my neck. But my day gonna come, because when I say I didn't do it, I meant I didn't do it. But you did it though. There were many people walking out her courtroom, probably disgusted just like I was. Disgusted and scratching your head as to why, how in the hell did this just happen? Why am I sitting in a position where I literally feel like a loser? Feel like you ready to commit suicide. It is about you, Edward the dummy. It's got to be about you, Edward the horse. It's about you. You had her, you have people hands in the palm. You have had people lives in the palm of your hands. And you thought it was a joke until she did something about what, you being gay? What was that about? She said something about you being gay? Because you didn't just come out the closet right now for no reason. And you said you've been recording her for years. You should not have a job either.
And says he's coming forward now because he wants to protect the people who have to face Judge Ryan.
So you want to protect the people that have to face Judge Ryan, but what about the 200 people that already faced her? Do they account for anything? What about all the people that has walked already in and out of her courtroom? I'm sure she see, when she have a full docket, I'm sure she see 20 people a day, if not more. And you've been recording her for years. There's 5 days in a week that you go to court. Minus one for miscellaneous. We know for a fact at least 4 days out of a week without a holiday, her courtroom doors are opened. And what's the percentage of her courtroom doors being open and there's a black person or a minority person that had to walk through those doors and leave out shamefaced, not knowing that they're sitting there with a racist Karen who hold a totally different weapon. She hold two weapons, her tongue and her black robe. Shame on you, Edward. And y'all giving him a bunny pass? This doesn't deserve a pass. He need to be in the same position that she's in, because guess what? He had an oath of duty as well.
In the courtroom.
The Honorable Kathleen A. Ryan presiding. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you too. Already have your mind made up soon as you see a black or a minority person walking in front of you. Good morning. How are you today? I'm black. Anything you want to deem me guilty of before you heard my story? Anything that you've already talked about with Mr. Edward the night before, because you know who all already on your docket for today? So your decision is already made up. So while they're sitting there talking, thinking they're explaining, thinking they're showing you that what's right or what's wrong, you've already had your decision because you and Edward done been pillow talking all night. Shame on y'all.
13 years on the bench. Oakland
13 years on the bench with the last 7 right there, because that say 2017. So where have you been at the other 13 years? Ruining 200, 300 more people's lives and been getting away with it all this time, while dumbass Edward been recording calls, and he only did it in a sinister way because you now pissed him off. Both of you were down with it. But you got an obligation, but guess what? Edward had an obligation as well.
Chief Probate Pro Tem Judge Kathleen Ryan is out of her courtroom. Chief Probate Judge Linda Hallmark removed Judge Ryan from her docket last week, announcing that a complaint about internal allegations of unprofessional conduct was sent to the Judicial Tenure Commission. Judge Ryan was arrested in 2021 for domestic violence, but those charges...
She was arrested for domestic violence? And such an offensible charge like that, that was no indication to anyone that there were other things a part of this judge's life that wasn't sitting right, especially in her courtroom. I'm just wondering, how was Edward the only one that noticed that this judge was racist? I kind of find that hard to believe, because I'm sure Edward wasn't the only one inside that office or courtroom that actually had close contact with her. There's no way. I feel like what needs to happen is that entire staff need to be interviewed and they need to be dismissed accordingly. They have duties and obligations not just to a judge. Their duties and obligation is more so to the people, because without the people, we don't need a judge. I feel like there's a lot more to this story, and I don't know what they're covering up, and I don't know what they're hiding. But it seems like there's a lot of other skeletons over there at the Oakland County's courthouse. Something is still not sitting well with me. Edward, you don't get a free pass. Karen, you're not getting a free pass. But what about the judge's assistants? So you're telling me the next closest person to the judge is the JA, the judge's assistant. and this judge assistant did never have not seen any signs that this judge is racist. This JA have not seen anything to show that this judge is making decisions that were totally against all integrity of the law. There's no way I can believe that Edward, who only recorded it, was the only one that went through this type of abuse.
Later dismissed, and now she's back in the headlines.
So if you're black from any other country, you're doing way better. If you're a mere black person, then you're lazy.
Wow. If you're a black from any other country, you're doing way better. If you're an American black person, then you're a effing lazy piece of shit. If you're a black from any other, first of all, I don't know why the letter A is in there. It threw me off when I tried to read it. But she's saying if you're black and you're from another country, you're doing way better. But if you're an American black person, you're effing lazy and you're a piece of crap, shit. And you're telling me, Edward, know good and well, this is totally out of order. He held on to recordings for this long. And you want us to be okay with you because you finally stopped this mistreatment inside a judicial system where we have no choice but to listen to these judges. We have no choice but to listen to police officers. And this is how we're being treated. So I wonder, did we make this up? I wonder if this is about race. I wonder if this fall under the line of discrimination, because there are so many white people. Oh, y'all make everything about race. You make everything about discrimination. You make everything. Well, walk in my damn shoes, Becky. Walk in my shoes, Jim. I tell them all the time, until you walk in my shoes, you cannot possibly give me an example. You cannot possibly know how I feel. For a judge, he heard this on video and he's just now releasing this.
The 7 investigators have obtained the recordings that county officials say prompted Judge Ryan's removal.
Oh, he's a I don't know.
Wow. Wow. Was that you, Edward?
She's made it a living hell in the past.
How did she make it a living hell? And you got the how did she make it a living hell? And you came to a gunfight with a bazooka, and she came to the gunfight with a butter knife. How was she that I hate to hear people say something. I hate to hear stuff like that. She made it a living hell for you. You were that scared of a woman. You were that scared of losing your job when you got the gun in your hand. She fired the bullet. You got all the evidence. And you were that scared? No, you were that prejudiced. And she made you upset. And now you're telling on her. But because you got the recordings, we gonna get to hear a little bit of what all you said. But I know you went on a rant yourself. You're just as guilty. You're a racist, just like your racist judge.
Cheers. I mean, it's been terrible. It's cost.
You're terrible, dummy. You're the only one that's terrible. You're terrible, and she is too. But who's more worse? The person that was a conspirator, a part of it. It's a conspiracy because you were a part of it as well. And then what happened? You took all of these videos, all of these recordings, and what happened? You tried to blackmail her. You tried to get money, and she wouldn't pay you. Because right there, you could have said, listen, I got a weapon against you. If you don't stop treating me this way, I can do this. Why did you come to the news? No, you were looking for something else.
Relationships.
Hell.
I think it's affected my health.
How it affected your health, and you were a part of the damn disease. This affected your health, and you were a part of the disease. There's no way you're going to tell me this affected your health. You did not have to answer her phone calls. If you're off for work, you could be clear. No, I was off. When I'm off work, I go do other things. I don't use my phone. You did not have to answer those phone calls, Billy Bob. Stop getting on the phone, becoming a victim. Stop getting on the news, and now all of a sudden you this big victim. How are you that much of a victim and you've been recording phone calls all these years? Make that make sense to me, Gomer. This makes no kind of sense to me. And I can't even give him a free pass. I know y'all in the comments, oh, at least he told my ass. He's watched thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people come through this lady courtroom year after year after year after year. And he knew good and well she already knew the outcome because they had already pillow talked about what she was going to do before they even walked in her courtroom. Don't give him no free pass. And I don't understand why he's not being investigated. Why? Because he the whistleblower? But he blew the whistle too. He was blowing the whistle too. He had the whistle to his mouth. He was a part of it. Just because he became a whistleblower, that don't make him innocent.
Can't sleep.
You could sleep. You can sleep. You slept for 5 years on these conversations. Don't get sleepy now.
Edward Hutton is the Oakland County Probate Court Administrator. He's in charge
An administrator at that. So he got a oath that he had to take as well. What charges are going to be brought up against him? The Detroit Police Department, there should be an internal investigation between him. There should be an investigation between whoever her assistant is. There should be an internal investigation between the secretary, if there's one in there. There should be an internal investigation. They need to shake that whole damn place up. There's nobody going to tell me that they didn't recognize and notice that this judge was a racist and she was just blowing cases because she was prejudiced.
everything that's not under the judge's purview inside one of the state's largest probate courts. Hutton alleges Judge Ryan has been calling him both during work and after hours for years.
So why did you answer the phone, Edward? I just said that you did not have to answer that phone and you knew you didn't have to answer that phone. But what happened was you answered that phone because you wanted to be a part of that conversation, just like this racist judge was. You wanted to be a part of that conversation. See, what people don't understand, it could be 1,000 of you in the conversations that can say, Queen, you act like you're prejudiced. You act like you this, you act like you're that. No, what it is for me is right and wrong. It's black or white, or there's some gray in between. There's nothing about me that's prejudiced. But if the truth be told, I don't know a soul that walked this earth that don't have some sort of prejudice in them. It don't have to be in the lines of color. We all got something in us that we're prejudiced against. But somebody's skin color is not one of them. But if I don't like your ass as a white person, you're going to know that. And if I don't like your ass as a black person, you're going to know it. If you've done something to me as a purple person, you're going to be made aware of it as well. There's no reason for me to be prejudiced. 90% of my nieces and nephews are biracial. My granddaddy was a white Chinese. White Japanese, I'm sorry. You can't just automatically look at a person and judge them. But when you walk in our shoes as black people, it's not that we're using the race card. It's probably 99% of the times what we really feel, and 99.9% of the time is the reality behind what we're calling it. If you have not walked in our shoes, please stay out of it. And black men, if you with your white women and you want to jump up on the scene and take defense, please get on another channel. I don't want to hear it right now. We're talking about this judge because the minute you and O.J. Simpson them get into trouble, y'all need us to confirm that the glove didn't fit.
Hutton says during those hours and hours of calls, Judge Ryan said highly inappropriate things.
And you're just bringing it to the forefront again. I don't know why ever is on here looking and wanting us to believe that he's the innocent victim. You're not an innocent victim, Sassy Cat. You're a part of the problem. There needs to be a solution between the judge and you. You were held to a different accountability as well. You signed off to make sure you maintain integrity whether you were on the clock or not. You did the exact same thing the judge did. The only difference is the way I look at it, I feel you went to recording the phone calls. At that point, you didn't care about me as a black woman. You didn't care about my black daughter. You didn't care about my black son. You didn't care about my black family members. What you cared about at that moment is, oh, one day I'm going to get her back, because it's just so weird that you recorded her for years. You knew you had a motive. You've been recording her for years. How are you about to get away with that? You're held to a different standard. You're an administrator. And I can't believe you. We're on the phone. We're on the news listening to you plead your story as if you did us a favor. To an extent, you did do us a favor, but in a bigger extent, you hurt us bad. How many people came across that courtroom and were dismangled by her treatment? And you sat right there and you knew that what she was doing wasn't right. I'm so tired of this story.
Why did you start recording the calls?
I just felt like
he lying.
It wasn't going to change. Nothing.
So how many years did it take for you to realize it wasn't going to change? Now, let's say if a person is recording phone calls for a month. After a month, I think there ain't nothing going to change. This is the way this person is. You waited years. I know those pants wasn't that tight where you couldn't have made a better sound decision than what you made. You are on here playing the victim. I have yet to ask, why didn't this news reporter say, well, let me ask you a question about how many cases do you think she misjudged? Then y'all will understand this man is not innocent. There's nothing about him innocent to me. And I'm not going to give him a free ass pass because of it. No. It's almost like the case with the Delta. I ran a case with Delta. 2 Caucasian men, because their flight got canceled because of weather or whatever the case may be, they decided to go and drain the whole Delta lounge that wasn't even for them. They wasn't that type of tier. They didn't have a card to get in there. I mean, they threw food in the garbage. They used water. They used up all the hand sanitizer. They did it all. And people praised them like it was funny. But let it had been a black person. He's in the same boat. He don't get, and then there were so many people, oh, you know what the guys did? That's good because Delta shit. No. Wrong is wrong, because when black person do it, y'all be all in the comments talking about black people this, black people that. That's why y'all need to listen. That's why you need to do that. Oh, if you don't move your shoulder, then you won't get punched in the face for resisting. You should go back to the page. I have so many nasty comments from Caucasian people until I'm like, I cannot believe they have no kind of love or understanding or even support for black people. Now I'm speaking as black people as a whole. So imagine the black woman. We got our own race. It's called black woman. Y'all don't understand how it feels to be out here. In family court, most of the time you got more women coming through family court. And when she go to talking about black, there we go again.
And it's conversations that I was a part of, and I'm absolutely willing to testify to the office.
Yeah, you willing to testify to it now because you done turned over some supporting evidence to support that this lady wasn't no good. But if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't be willing to that because willing to be doing that because you know good and well you should be charged as well. You took an oath. And you can have your eyes big as your nose if you want to, but at the end of the day, you're just as guilty as this judge. You're a racist rat, just like her. Move on.
Justice of the State Supreme Court, Oakland County, notice of sexual harassment.
For 3 months, nothing happened.
That's
So basically what he's saying is this.
On May 24th, Hutton says he sent Chief Judge Linda Hall.
He sent this to her. She did absolutely nothing. Why? 99% of the time because they're friends. He had to go outside in order to get help. Yeah, he went a whole death then because she clearly did something to him. Why didn't he do that before? You did that because that's your friend. What I guess my point by telling this part is this. When that happened to me, I knew I didn't do anything wrong. I knew for a fact they literally falsely arrested me. They falsely arrested me and said that I was literally trespassing, and they knew I wasn't even at the same place. If something happened at McDonald's, how could you arrest me at Burger King and say I'm trespassing at Burger King? And they had nothing to do with it. I knew I was falsely arrested from the jump. I'm the victim. The problem with it was I took every pain that they put me through for 2 days. The first thing I did when I was able to get out, I went straight to internal affairs. I filed the complaint. I did a voice recording. I had to do a sworn affidavit. I had to write out what I said that happened. I had to do it all. 3 weeks later, I called back and asked, was there any kind of update? I had to stay on them, like trying to figure out, what are you guys doing? What's your investigation? What are you looking into? They literally, after I went up there, they sent me a letter with 2 lines. Case closed, no evidence found. And it was it. Point to this story is I felt so bad inside. I was in the dark literally since March. I'm just coming out the closet. They literally put me in the shell, and the only thing I could come up with was there's no way internal affairs are going to tell me that that wasn't a false arrest. You trumped up a charge on me. You falsely arrested me, not even at the place you were supposed to even arrest me for had I did trespass. Y'all were friends. You guys, you knew the officers. So y'all thought y'all were going to be able to get away with mistreating me, the same thing that just happened here. He sent it to someone that's friends and affiliated. My point is, y'all think when you go into internal affairs, you think you go into an obsolete group that has nothing to do. They're isolated from this police department. No, it's that they know each other across the board. And the only one really reviewing your complaint is a lieutenant. The lieutenant is who's reviewing your complaint. You have to learn to go above. But you have to follow the proper protocol first. Internal affairs is nothing but another set of police officers. It's not a whole nother entity group. It's nothing like that. They still run in the same circle. They still run into each other. So they allowed this lady to still be on the bench 3 more months.
A notice of sexual harassment.
For 3 months, nothing happened.
That's why on August 22nd, Hutton says he decided to send the recordings to the Chief Justice of the State Supreme Court, Oakland County Executive David Coulter, and other public officials.
He had to go that far just to get help. So imagine, because he worked in the judicial system, he really from the jump knew the proper protocols. He already knew from the jump that the first lady he sent that to, he knew she wasn't going to do anything. He trusts me. He knew that. So that means to me, because he's an administrator, he knew the proper protocols. He knew to go above. He knew. Even the DOJ, he knew. But he still held on to those recordings. The problem that I'm having with that, take an ordinary black person that's not even familiar with even fighting back. You are already vulnerable because you're going through something else. You don't even know the proper protocols to get your voice heard. So what happens is still get swept under the rug. And all you did, you just got added to the bucket list of all the other hundreds of people that just has to say, wait a minute, how did she even charge me like that? How did she take this away from me? How did she charge me this much money? How would she do this to me? He knew all of that was unraveling. But he also knew the proper protocol. So he was scared for his job. No, you weren't. That's why you sent it to these two people. That's why you sent it to the state of Michigan. You knew what to do from the beginning. You just chose the road that you went down because you already knew you were a part of it, because you felt that way as well.
Also contacted me.
I just want to make it
Yeah,
right.
he contacted you, of course. He could have did that from the beginning. Stop giving him brownie points. He been knew how the news work. He work at the courthouse. He see y'all asses every other day. Don't sit here and give him no free pass. He don't deserve a free pass. He deserved to be in the same position she's in. Thank you so much for doing your job and turning over these tapes. Why did you record from the beginning? First of all, it was illegal, but I guess if it's used in the commission of a crime, you can do that and you don't need a person's permission. But can I ask you a question? Why didn't you already turn this over to us? You should have been did that. Why were we still just waiting? Hey, can I ask you another question? How many people do you think the judge seen? In all of those years, how many people do you think the judge seen? Do you think she's seen hundreds of thousands of people? Do you think hundreds of thousands of people cases need to be overturned? Do you think there's any monetary compensation that needs to be awarded to any family members? I wonder. If there's anybody in that Detroit area and you're watching this video, if you know someone in the area and they've had any kind of altercations or any kind of court dates or anything where they had to go in front of this judge, you need to let them see this video. They need to go back. They need to go through their judicial system again, and they need to see whether or not any type of compensation needs to be awarded to them, because this isn't right. There's nothing about him where I'm going to give him high gloating glory. He deserved to be in the same space that she was in because he entertained it for years. I promise you I would give him a free pass if it wasn't so many years. If he told me so many weeks or so many days, might be a different story, because yes, at that point I can feel you're probably contemplating, should you do this or should you do that? My life may be on the line, but that's not what the case is. Right now, the case is you're just as guilty as she is.
I haven't filed a lawsuit.
Of course you haven't filed a lawsuit yet, because you already know there's other things that's going to be involved. You know there's a possibility that you can be charged as well. You knew that you held a certain line of integrity. You knew that there was things that you were supposed to be reporting. Not just recording, you should have been reporting as well, and you didn't. So we're going to watch out for you in your future lawsuits.
Not looking for a payday.
Yes, you are, because if you wasn't looking for a payday, you would have been told on her the other day. You had a whole lot of time to report this judge. See, it's no big deal to them because they're not the one that's enduring the pain that we go through. So he could sit there with his hands like this, because he ain't do nothing wrong. His family members didn't have to go through it. His mom and them didn't have to be humiliated. His daddy didn't have to be stripped naked while standing in front of a Caucasian white woman who knew for a fact that she was prejudiced. He knew that there's nothing that black man could have said, stripped him of everything he got, even though he'll beat a black woman up for hurting him like that. But he get in front of a white woman and don't know how to fight. And then us black women get in there and we get mouthy. Why? Because at this moment you're mistreating me. And sometimes you don't hear me. Then we held into contempt. We are taken away from our children. We're labeled. Now we got a whole new record. And he's sitting there with his hands like this, like he really just uncovered something. You did uncover something, but I want to know, why did you wait so late to uncover it? You don't get a free pass from me. He don't get a free pass.
I want to keep my job. And
yeah, of course you want to keep your job. So how are you going to look at all the people that you helped lose their job because they got incarcerated or they couldn't afford to pay something? Now you want to keep your job, and we're supposed to pity you because you snitched or you tattletale. You was telling on the judge, but you forgot you was telling on you too. That wasn't the only job that he could have gotten. He's been with this lady for years. That's the only position that was ever opened. No, he don't get a free pass.
Peace. That's
Man, I don't want to hear about your damn peace. Move it on.
Absolutely not. Nobody with that much hate in their heart for certain people or certain groups of people, I don't believe that they could possibly make fair, unbiased decisions regarding them.
I want to know, how in the hell would he make a decision like that and say she don't deserve to be in front of anybody, she don't deserve this? You're an administrator. I wouldn't trust you either going forward. You held one of the biggest secrets ever that needed to be exposed years ago. Who are you to feel like we're supposed to trust you? He need to be moved up out of that courtroom, up out from that judicial courthouse, and he need to be placed somewhere else pending an investigation. This isn't right. And I'm highly appalled at it. As much as we're going through in this world, you would hold on to tapes for this long. Oh, trust me, this judge, she ain't going nowhere. It's just no reason for me to talk about her. All her tapes, voice recordings just told a story about her. She's a racist judge. And I guarantee you, had someone like me walked in the courtroom and said, this judge is racist, everybody in the damn courtroom would have felt like I was just being black. And I'm sure there's many people walked out the courtroom and said that she was racist. But they get away with it unless a Caucasian brother get to unravel the truth and show who she really is. Because as long as black people doing it, it take us by the flock, and black people ain't finna lean together like that, child. So y'all might as well let it go. All I know is I'm tired of this. This is your girl Queen Dee Dee with Dee Dee Said It. You leave me a like, comment, share, subscribe, do anything you want to do. All I want to tell you is this: when you see that there's racism going on even in your courthouse, y'all have to learn what the proper protocols are. You need to start filing complaints. Stop saying you don't have time, you don't know what to do. You got a lot of places you can go. Damn it, get on the internet, Google what's the next step. One of the main places you could do whenever you go into a courtroom and you feel like a judge, this is the best advice I'm going to give you. If you feel like a judge is discriminating against you, I highly, 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 highly suggest, if you don't know anywhere else to go to the DOJ, Department of Justice in your state. Go to the DOJ. That's the Department of Justice, and you can file a complaint against a court official. You can file a complaint against any police department. They do open up investigation. I can show you the packet. They're going to send you a packet. It's a long manila envelope, or they'll even tell you that you can even go online and you can place your complaint online. I'm about to do it too, but I'm just waiting until this case is dismissed like it's going to be. You go to the DOJ. If anybody know anyone that's been a part of this Supreme Court, and you know anyone that's been a part of this Detroit judicial system in that courthouse, let them know. They need to call up there and find out about their case, because you never know. She may have been one that she may have mishandled their case. Now y'all need to flood the Department of Justice doors with complaints about this lady. This is your girl Queen Dee Dee. Like, share, comment, subscribe. If you don't do anything else, whoop whoop. Get to know me. Talk to you next time.